This is the Property Secrets Podcast, presenting respected author, commentator, and speaker Darren Standish, providing insights into the hidden secrets of real estate and building wealth through property.
Welcome to this week's edition of Property Secrets, the show where we speak to experts from around the country to get an insider's guide into buying, selling, or investing in property. I'm really excited today because I'm speaking with, a guy I've known for a long time now. Actually, we don't get to speak too often, but I met him probably, almost 10 years ago, I think now. We met at a seminar and we just had a common interest. We've sort of kept in touch over the years and we're sort of Facebook friends. So I thought rather than, just getting out there and speaking to your professionals that are real estate agents and mortgage brokers and, property agents, I talked to a real investor that's out on the ground that's really done it from the ground up. So that's why I thought I'd invite along Hance Limboro. And hi, Hance, thanks for joining us.
Yes, hi, Darren. Thanks for the invite.
Fantastic. Thanks again for coming and giving our listeners a bit of a snapshot into what you've achieved so far. And I suppose, if people people wouldn't have heard about you before because you're not out there, you just are doing your own thing basically. But give us a bit of a background of, what it is you're doing right now and where you started and where you've got to.
My main source of income is my chiropractic work, where I help with people's spine and with their health. Started about more than 10 years ago. Basically, I picked up a book on real estate and found a person who had a tremendous life, I suppose, to be able to travel because of the passive income from real estate. And I wanted to be able to do the same thing. I wanted to learn how to do that. So I attended many seminars, and a lot of seminars, information is a bit conflicting. And some says you got to do this, and some says you got to buy some land, some say you got to buy off the plan, get in wholesale, and then the rental unfortunately cannot cover that, so it's a bit confusing for me. And I was lucky, actually. I found a mentor because of his health problems, and I was able to help him through my chiropractic work, and he mentored me. That's how I got into property and avoided some pitfalls along the way.
So before you started, you'd never invested in property before? Maybe you had your own house or something, but it was totally new to you?
Totally new, lots of sleep. Trying to do my first deal, I actually lost many hours of sleep there, trying to do the first deal.
And fast forward to today, if just give us a quick snapshot of where you're at right now as far as your investing journey.
We have a portfolio of about 20 properties, actually more than 20. I sold about 4 properties so far, so only about 20 left. And the reason we sold those properties because we had I ran into some issues with refinancing. The properties has gone up in price, but couldn't refinance it, so I sold the properties to get the equity out of the property to do more investments.
Oh, congratulations. And before I start, I just want to congratulate you. That's amazing what you've done, 20 properties, and I know speaking to investors all around the country, they, most people who buy an investment property, they usually have one, and you're lucky if you have 1 or 2. So to get to that 20 properties mark, that's an amazing achievement. Obviously, you must have, you were lucky to stumble upon that mentor that gave you some guidance. If you can, can you sort of step, is there some easy steps that we could take to try, and if we want to try and get to that sort of success, is it the 3 steps we take or 5 steps, or, what do you think the secret is to get to that point?
3 steps to take. For me, I would say getting a mentor with a track record. Somebody who's got a track record. That's number 1. Step number 2 is take lots of action. Be prepared to get lots of no's from real estate agents who tells you it cannot be done. And keep repeating the process. Those are 3 steps. Keep repeating the process.
So even with, obviously you were fortunate enough to have a mentor that gave you a bit of guidance and a bit of a breakdown on the way to go. Do you still think it's a bit of a trial and error process? Have you been learning over these years as well? Or did you have a blueprint set out to you by your mentor that said, hey, just do this and then you're going to be rich?
I had a blueprint for my mentor because he actually purchased over 100 properties himself. So that was the blueprint to start with. And at the same time, I've seen since that using his blueprint, I've actually grown that. I've sort of expanded the strategy by attending seminars and reading books and reading, because my mentor specialized in residential, and I've read books on commercial and other things. And but my strong expertise is in residential because I got that firsthand from my mentor.
And so you've obviously set yourself up this amazing portfolio of properties, and they're all, these properties all putting money in your pocket, or they negatively geared property, or can you just give us a bit of a breakdown of I know we have a limited amount of time here, but I'd really love to have a really understanding, what's the logic behind your process of investing in properties?
So basically, since we got limited time, basically the strategy is to buy positive cash flow property that can fund itself. So basically, allows the property to stand alone. So if you happen to lose your job, the property portfolio will not crumble. So that's very important. So positive cash flow properties, that is within major cities still. So you got the infrastructure of having more than 50,000 people in the population, multiple industries. So there's lots of checkpoints you need to make sure you satisfy, as well as making sure it's positive cash flow properties.
So that positive cash flow side of things, then you really you're hunting out that investment then. So you're looking all around the country, or you're looking just locally where you live, or do you find you have to look further abroad?
All around the country. And that's the thing about the internet. That's one of the things that I was lucky when I stumbled upon my mentor, because other seminars I went to, they tell you have to drive, you got to get to know the suburbs, and it's actually difficult for me to do that because I got work to do and patients to take care of. So this one allows me to get my property through internet on common websites such as realestate.com.au, domain.com.au, and basically making lots of offers, getting lots of rejections, and then one or two people will accept it. You only need one or two to get started. And that's how the portfolio grew.
Okay, so I suppose part of it, you had a blueprint to start with. You've sort of tweaked that over time, but again, you still, when you're getting out there, I suppose you're learning, just especially if you're dealing with different states and you're dealing with different real estate agents and mortgage brokers and a whole pile of different things. So it is. Do you find it's still a learning process that you've gone through over the last 10 years?
Not so much. I have the blueprint plus the clauses to protect me when I make offers. So like we've purchased properties in, I started with Western Australia. I'm in Sydney. The first property is in Western Australia. I've never been to that property since I've held it. I've never been there. The second property was in Queensland, and we bought in ACT, Melbourne, Victoria, Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, Hance, Townsville. So it's all over the place. And the reason it's all over the place because I don't have to actually go in there and visit the property. And also it's all over the place because it allows me to diversify the portfolio, because the property markets are not, the property markets go through cycle, and all the cycles are not the same in each state. So it allows me to spread the property portfolio across different states, and they are in different cycles.
And so that would minimize your risk, because if one property is going up in value, one's going down in value, and you're spreading it over time. So over the long term, you're getting the benefits of the long-term capital gains throughout Australia rather than just in one location.
Correct.
Fantastic. Well, that makes total sense. And so with this, for some people listening out there, what you've achieved seems almost unachievable, I suppose. So, but you obviously running your own business. I'm sure you're actively busy. You've got your own family to sort of day-to-day wise. What do we have to? It sounds like you haven't quit your job. Is it possible for other people to do a similar sort of thing? They can keep their day job and get to sort of achievements that you've got to.
Yeah. You only need 4 hours a day to look at properties online and make offers. on the properties that you like to buy, you think is good. And the important thing is you need to have clauses so you can actually pull out the deal if the deal is not so good.
So you're trying to find undervalued properties, so properties that looks like good value for money, and trying to put money in your pocket, cash flow positive properties, which even though it's more difficult to find properties like that, you were saying, well, they're still out there, but it sounds like you need to take action quite quickly. So that means that if there's a property like that, you'll put in an offer straight away and sign a contract, but subject to allowing you to get more information just in case things don't work out.
Correct, totally correct. And when I've done seminars in the past and my attendees give me a feedback that they tell me they cannot find those properties. Well, the fact of life, those properties are not there. You actually make them. You have to make them appear. If that makes sense, you got to use your skills of negotiation to make those property appear so that it can actually cash flow it. Otherwise, if it's there already, someone else will pick it up. So you got to it's a skill of making the property that's not cash flow positive at the moment and make it become cash flow positive, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so you're doing things, obviously, to turn it cash flow positive. First thing you'd do, the easiest thing would be offer them less money. And so the less they take, the more the numbers are going to work better. And then secondly, do you then try and look at creating extra income out of the property that puts more money in your pocket?
Yes. Without getting my hands dirty and doing renovation and things like that. Unless if you do renovation, you get a big increase in price, then or big increase in income, then that's an option you can do also.
Because obviously the way you're doing this is quite remote, and you've got your day job as well, so you don't really have time to be getting out there and digging holes and painting and all that rest of that sort of stuff. And again, if you even I've done a lot of renovations over my time. Even if you don't do it yourself and you hire other tradies to do it, there's a time factor associated with managing all those trades, and particularly if things don't work out. So you try to take yourself out as much as possible, even if you can potentially hire other people. You try to just make it as simple as possible, so there's less for you to do. Is that your sort of logic?
Yes. Something where the property doesn't require much work. If the property does require much work, then I need to get a bigger discount on that property because there's extra risk involved.
And so you've been doing this, sounds like, to get to where you've got to. You've been doing it quite consistently over the years. So you're allocating on average sort of 4 hours a day to finding properties, negotiating properties.
4 hours a week. 4 hours a week.
4 hours per week. Okay, well that seems pretty. So maybe half an hour in the morning before you start work, have a quick look on the internet, see if there's anything out there. I suppose the good thing we've got nowadays is you can register for a lot of the websites so they can have things pop up in your emails potentially. Is that the way you do it?
I do that also. I basically mainly do it on the weekend. When I have some time on the weekend, I'll spend 2 hours on Saturday, maybe 2 hours on a Sunday to look at properties and make offers. And then during the week, then I negotiate with the real estate agents who get the property on contract.
Yeah. I can see. Well, if you think about it, 4 hours a week to set yourself up so you've got 100 properties, or well, not 100, 20 properties sitting there. Then and you're quite a young man too, so you're still setting yourself up. You have. You sort of plan to do this continually, doing the same strategy over and over again, like your mentor, and get to the point of having 100 properties?
Yes, of course, yep.
Yeah. Well, that's super exciting, and it's really great to have someone like yourself that's a real investor out there doing it every day and started off, and the amazing thing is it just seems like it's just small little steps, towards your end goal. It seems to have got you to where you are today. So it's not going out taking massive risks. You've and risking everything for your family and everything. You've just taken little steps at a time, and once you've consolidated that, you move on to the next stage. Is that how it's worked?
Yep. And also the other thing I want to mention also, it's important to have to create a savings plan. You gotta actually discipline and force yourself to save money. You got to make sure you discipline yourself and save money, because that money that you save will allow you to put a deposit towards the next deal and so forth. And also, the thing I love about property is that property is a legitimate way for you to reduce your tax legally. without doing any fancy tricks and so forth. It's a legitimate way that you can reduce your tax, and Australia government approves that. So it's very safe.
Yeah, well, that's the amazing thing. We've got this opportunity out there, the actual government supporting, and the reason they're out, my logic of why they're out supporting is we need places for people to live. People are complaining about the lack of, houses are too expensive. So people out there investing in property and creating more places for people to live as investors, it's good for society, and obviously that's one of the reasons the government supported. So I suppose, this is the Property Secret Show, so I probably should ask you, you've obviously been so open and honest with us and given us huge amounts of information. Is there a particular secret that you've just learned by all your years of, trial and error that you could sort of, pass on to our listeners?
So the secret is, I mentioned earlier, getting a mentor, saving money, being disciplined, put some money aside, and take action. Basically, take lots of action and get feedbacks from your action. I mean, the actions that you start with. Basically, when I first started, I took lots of action, make lots of offers, actually thousands of offers. I think within 2 months, all of them were rejected. I remember speaking to my mentor, and he asked me what I'm going to do. And I basically told him that, well, you've done it, so I'm just going to continue doing it until I get success. And basically, it took me over 3 months before I got the first property accepted. Actually, I got 2 properties accepted in the same block, but because it was my first deal and I actually got contract on 2 of them, I actually pulled out on one of them because I was so nervous that the property got delayed settlement, and I thought maybe that's a sign that I shouldn't buy both of them. So I ended up only buying one. But in hindsight, if I bought 2, it would have been better. But it's the first deal, and it's still scary.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I give to my clients, the advice I give to my clients too, that, just lack of experience is risk at the end of the day. And the more times you do something, the more experience you have, the more knowledge you have, and the less risky things can be. And so in your instance there, when you're first starting out, it probably was risky for you to buy 2 properties at once. But now when you're in a situation, you saw an opportunity like that and you could see 2 properties, even if there was 10 properties came on the market and you could see it's a bit of a no-brainer, you just go, cool, I'll just snap it up. Whereas when you're first starting out, sorry about that. So it's a lot harder for you to get out there and take that jump, I suppose. So yeah, that's some of the advice I give to clients as well. Is just do it. Just get out there and do it. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. So
totally agree. Yep. Take action.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure our listeners have really appreciated it too. So if people do, I understand it's not really, your main things being a chiropractor, but do you have any way that people, if they wanted to reach out to you and find out more information about, how you've done it, do you have a way that people can connect with you?
Yes, I have a website. It's 10wealth.net, but then 10 is 10 is digits, 10wealth.net.
Okay, so it's 10 WEALTH as it
.net.
Yep. .net. Fantastic. Oh, thanks very much for that, and I appreciate all your time. I'm sure our listeners have found it really interesting, and I've learned a lot of stuff myself too. So I really appreciate it, and if you guys are out there thinking about doing, then that's definitely a prime example. If we follow Hance's lead, then I'm sure we'll get some sort of success too. So thanks again, Hance, for joining us.
Pleasure. Thank you.
This has been the Property Secrets Podcast with Darren Standish. Learn more at propertyprosperity.com.au.